Yo, 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 what's up, Hivers? I thought I'd try something different, with 2024 coming to a close. I thought I would actually talk about, it's not really a particular order, but I wanted to talk about 10 records, calling it my top 10, but I think I could probably put this in some different orders. And I wanted to purposely focus on picking 10 records that are all a little different. There's some punk albums that came out. But I wanted to purposely kind of mix it up, talk about some different music, and call it, kind of my top 10. So I'm not really going to, excuse me, I'm not really going to do this in a particular order. I think I could probably put my top 10 or number 9 or number 8, at number 2 or number 3. So take the order they're in and kind of with a grain of salt. But I wanted to focus on just 10 very different, interesting records. And, just kind of tell you what I think. So first up, you know what? Let's give an honorable mention to the Kendrick Lamar record. I don't really listen to a lot of hip hop. Recently. I own a bunch of hip hop records, mostly from the '90s. I own all the Wu-Tang records. I own a bunch of Jay-Z and Nas records and stuff like that. But honestly, I just a lot of 21st century hip hop is just corny. It's just flashy, like, yo, I got my crib, my new ride. I'm just being honest. It's just my opinion. But the record GNX from Kendrick Lamar, I think it's an interesting record. Somebody else was talking about it, so I gave it a listen, and I got to agree. So I'm going to throw that in as an honorable mention. I guess I'll just put it as a bonus. But yeah, my neighbor has these I live in like a condo apartment type place. So outside my window, there's patios. Each apartment has a patio. And these people across the way from me, it's like they think they have a house, and they put up like wind chimes and stuff. They leave them up. The last few years, they took them down because people complained about the noise, because there's more wind in the wintertime. Over the summer, you don't really hear them. And they're fucking nuts. The people are crazy. And they got this huge wind chime, and I hear it every 5 seconds. I was thinking about going and taking it down, because they're below on the first floor. And if I can hear it, everybody below me can hear it. Everybody above my floor can probably hear it. And this lady's crazy. She's like the Karen of all Karens. She literally dug up the ground across from her patio and planted like random stuff across from her patio in a condo complex outside of the person below me's window. Like, they literally dug up the ground right outside somebody's window. This is not a house where you own property. And they literally planted a bunch of stuff, and then it grew like 6 feet, and they stopped caring for it, and the condo people had to, send somebody in to plant grass. This is the Karen of all Karens of all Karens. It's like, over the summer, you're using your patio, go ahead and put some stuff up. I'm not a Karen. I don't care. But when it's the winter time and you're never out there, all these wind chimes are doing is bugging the hell out of people. But this lady is crazy. So I don't think anyone wants to complain. Yeah. This lady's nuts. But anyway, that's your living situation update. All right, so again, I'm putting this in an order, but I'm not really putting much thought into the order. It's more just sharing 10 records. So I'm going to Melvins, number 10, Tarantula Heart. Obviously, the Melvins, a lot of success in the 90s. Kurt Cobain got them signed to Atlantic Records. Kurt Cobain actually helped produce their 93 record. Just a band that's been around, they were in the 80s, and then, they toured a bunch with Nirvana, very alternative band, definitely harder, definitely some metal influence. This record, it's only got 5 songs, but the first song's like 20 minutes. So it is considered a full-length album. And it's pretty good, man. It's pretty damn good. It's worth checking out. I'm not going to spend too much time on each record since we got 10 to go through. But Pain Equals Funny, the opening track, Work in the Ditch. It's really good. It's really, really good. And then you got to go Jack White, the surprise album drop in July last year. The album No Name. That's How I'm Feeling. We hear on satellite radio like every 5 seconds on the college indie station, the alternative station. I mean, it's just all over the place. I got so sick of hearing the single, honestly. But yeah, it's a great record. Very White Stripes sounding. Very old school Jack White. If him and Meg were, still having a good relationship, this easily could have been a White Stripes record. It just has that kind of vibe, and I think that's one of the reasons I like it. But yeah, it's one of those records, just put on the whole album. I'm not even going to showcase any songs. I am going to put one song below below this vlog. You'll see you'll see the album information and stuff. I am going to put one track from each record, to showcase. But in terms of talking about it, it's worth just putting the record on cover to cover. And yeah. Next up, I'm trying to mix this up. I'm trying to really bring like a really different vibes into here. We're going Kings of Leon, the record that came out in 2024. Can We Please Have Fun? It just sounds, this is a band that, Ashley's actually a huge fan. I knew them. I had some songs on a playlist before they blew up in 2008, 2009. But, this is the band that blew up, their song Sex on Fire. And that was a huge single. And then their slower song, what was it called? You Somebody, Someone Like You, oh, whoa. That song. I've been running around, always looking down all I see. And they got so big commercially, pop radio success. And their old fans kind of turned on them a little bit. Not the real fans, but I remember interviews where like radio DJs would be like, so, your old stuff's way better. And it was just insulting. They really got dragged. Their album after the big commercial success, I remember a lot of the fans were just like, what is this? Whatever. So here you are 14 years later, 12, 13, 14 years later. And this album's really cool. I think it's a good record. Kind of a return to form, but also kind of doing something new. But it's great to see because they really got dragged for... Look, if a band gets big, as long as the music's not corny, and they like The Offspring, I'm just going to be honest, they're a band that I like. But they're a band that changed their sound to try to get bigger. Pretty Fly for a White Guy was written to be a pop success. Where a song like The Kids Aren't Alright on the same record is a great song that happened to, get radio play and stuff. But like songs like "Can't Get a Job" and "Pretty Fly for a White Guy," and on the next album, like there are songs they literally wrote like, we need to get like on pop radio. We need to be bigger. It's just the truth. Where a band like Green Day in 1994, they just wrote the songs that they had been writing. Obviously, better production. Real major label producer. They just got big at the right time. They didn't change their sound. So as long as a band doesn't change their sound, I have no issue with them being big and making a bunch of money. But for whatever reason, it really rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way, and a lot of fans stopped supporting them. And then once the commercial success faded, those new fans, the soccer moms and stuff, they kind of bailed, and they went through a rough time. They took a long break, but this album's definitely worth checking out. Can We Please Have Fun from Kings of Leon? Let's see here. Again, I'm throwing the order out the window. I think the Melvins or Jack White could easily be in the top 3. So I'm not even worried about the order here. All right. Just to try to throw in something different, we're going to go some straight up metal. The album From Hell I Rise from Kerry King, a.k.a. the dude from Pantera. This is not my usual listening. A friend had told me about the record, and I just figured, hey, let's throw a metal record in. It definitely kicks ass. Again, it's not my usual thing, I mean, I like Pantera. Is it Slayer or Pantera, man? Oh, I'm gonna get hell for this. This is ridiculous. If I just screwed that up. Kerry King. Oh, Irving Plaza. Nice. New York City show. Sings for what group? Kerry King, blah, 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 blah. Slayer. I can't believe I said Pantera. I'm such an idiot. I knew, literally I knew that. I just mixed it up in my head. I was thinking metal, and I just kind of screwed that up. So yeah, Slayer. I don't know why I screwed that up. But obviously, it sounds very much like Slayer. So check it out. I don't know much to say about it. I'll showcase a song below. But if you're a fan of Slayer, you'll probably like this record. It definitely is heavy and kicks ass. Next up, I'm going a little poppier. This is a band that actually I discovered on satellite radio. And I actually had somebody tell me like their old records are really good. The Fontaines DC, Romance 2024 album. Heard a couple of the singles on the alternative station on satellite radio, as well as the college indie station. Definitely like alternative kind of pop, Definitely going from metal to something much poppier. But yeah, I think it's a cool record, and wanted to throw it in. All right. Next up, we got the artist Color Green, the album Fool's Parade. Again, I'm just trying to mix it up here. Give you some different styles, give you some different vibes. If I just picked my favorite 10 records, there'd probably be some punk albums in here. Probably most of these would remain, but I purposely wanted to kind of reach out the box and kind of really showcase different records that came out in 2024. So this one's a little different. Check it out. The song Colorado, the song Four Leaf Clover. It's good stuff. All right. We're going with another kind of classic older artist for the next one up. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, the album Wild God 2024. Some wild lyrics, some deep, writing in these lyrics. Obviously a classic artist, an older artist. Opens up with Song of the Lake, track 2, Wild God. and worth checking out. Definitely worth checking out, in my opinion. All right, next up, we're going the album Passage du Jour from Johnny Blue Skies. Definitely got, a country vibe, just something different. I don't have a lot to say about it. I wanted to check one thing here. So this is Sturgill Simpson, by the way. He's going by the alter ego, Johnny Blue Skies, but this is Sturgill Simpson. I probably should have said that right off the bat, to be totally honest. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. Check it out. It's cool stuff. All right, next up, we're going Marcus King, his album produced by Rick Rubin, the album Mood Swings. Very different album. This is very different. You probably need to listen to it a couple times. Definitely like a little country, a little blues. Marcus King has got a killer voice, and this album's really good. I did not know it. I'm going to be honest. I was just looking at artists I was familiar with. I have his 2022 record. I didn't even know about this until a week ago when I decided to do this post and kind of purposely not just pick the usual whatever I played the most. I wanted to really showcase some different stuff that I think are important records, not just necessarily my favorite. So yeah, check it out. Marcus King, produced by Rick Rubin and on Rick Rubin's record label. And it's just, Rick Rubin, you always hear that in the last few years, like Corey from Slipknot talked about how when they went to work with Rick Rubin showed up once a week. They had the studio engineer who was there all the time. But Rick Rubin showed up once a week, would listen to some stuff for 2 hours and be like, all right, keep working on that. I'll be back next week. Whereas when he was working with the Beastie Boys, the Chili Peppers in the 80s, 90s, he was just there the whole time. He was in the studio with you for 2 months. You know what I mean? So I understand the frustration. But I think because Marcus King is actually on his record label, I think it was an old school session where Rick Rubin was there most of the time. And, I think that makes a big difference. I think the production on this is really, really good. It's very different, very interesting. Speaking of Slayer, Rick Rubin produced their 87 or 88 record. And it was just just crazy how different the production makes all the difference in the world. There's albums from the 90s that if they had a different producer, they could have been on a totally another level. That's something I'm actually pretty keyed in on. All right, next up, and I got to be honest, I feel like I kind of went in reverse order because this is definitely not number one. I would put the Melvins, Jack White, maybe Marcus King, even though it's not my usual thing. I would put them toward number one. So the vlog is not going in the right order. I'll probably try to put them in a more correct order below, because this is definitely not number one for me. I actually kind of get annoyed by Radiohead, by their later stuff. I'm just not into it. And Ashley happens to like it, so when it comes on satellite radio, she wants to leave it on. I get bored by it. I don't know. It's just not my thing. But I think this is an important record. It's getting a lot of acclaim. It's the Smile. They actually put out 2 albums in 2024, but I'm going to focus on Wall of Eyes, which was out earlier in the year. This is, the guy from Radiohead's side project. Obviously, it sounds like Radiohead because it's his voice. So this would be my number 10. Yeah, I could reverse the order. The order's not important. I just wanted to pick 10 different records. Again, not even necessarily that are my favorite, but I think just records that were kind of important. And yeah, that's about it. You know, if you're a fan of Radiohead, you'll love this record. If you're not, you probably won't. And that's about it. I think that's 10. We'll leave it there. Again, Kendrick Lamar. You know, I said honorable mention. I guess I was kind of focusing on bands. You know, even though they're solo artists, I was focusing on guitar, bass, drum kind of vibes. But, you know, we can throw Kendrick Lamar in here. I'll put it as a bonus pick, but, you know, it doesn't devalue it from the rest at all. And that's about it. That's about it. So check it out. This has probably gotten pretty long. We're at about 20 minutes. I would say my favorite is the Melvins record, Jack White, Marcus King, the Fontaines DC, definitely poppier. Definitely like in the alternative scene, but, you know, definitely just poppy songs, you know, especially their song on the radio. It's very catchy. You know, The Color Green, Sturgill Simpson, I mean, a legend. Nick Cave and the Seeds, a legend. The dude from Radiohead, I know the guy's name. Why am I dropping the ball? You know, for his fans, this is a very legendary album. I thought it was worth mentioning. It's probably my least favorite on the list. But I figured, you know, I wanted to try to just really showcase 10 or 11 different albums. And hope you enjoy. I love you guys. Later.